Interlinear communication cycles, reset generation light centers, code signal interference. I know everybody's trying to understand what's going on, why you guys need to be scanned every day. To understand you is to understand the system. And the only way to understand that is to shut it off and bring it back on. Okay, the track interference. I'm going to give you guys 15 minutes. If you can't put yourself back on in time system locations, I will put you back online. Right? Just say general, put me back online. That's all I need to see in bracket interference if you're having problems at position locations. This is about understanding what the electrical line center is. Yesterday, you went through the electrical system. Today, you're going to go through your chakras of the grounds, what the ground is to all of you. You have to truly start from the bottom and work your way up. Now, this is only going to the squad unit locations. All right. Everybody else, no. You're just going to go to the high interference location to Orion's belt. More memory, more communication in the avatar system. Really get to know yourself through its position locations. This is just for the squad units, right? Because I got to get you guys to higher level system. Coming to intergalactic line centers. That's to understand how you're in position location, understand you through more space and more time. The more you understand the position location, the more you understand operation inside, then you understand what it is, the computer adaptation. All right, it's all done through your behavioral cortex locations, your visionary line centers. Okay, this is all done through all lines. All right, so we'll get in signal right away. Right, we'll start this right away so I can put you guys back online so you understand the experience. All right, so going through core line center locations, grounds and position line center interference. Calculate all line center locations. Shut off all valves communication to the earth rotation center. Axial communication line centers. Squad unit 1 and position squad unit 2 line centers and calculations. Everything of the GFLs and everything of the rebellion and their sending master communication and sentient gods are off signal. 10-15 minutes. Try to put yourself back on line conditions. Ooh-ah. All right. Quicken signal, quicken activation line center, and inner line rotation to its position. Okay, I had to do that very quick and high center. All right, so you guys are off signal. All right, so as you're going through modification locations in the grounded system, try to understand what the ground means to you. So let's say you go through a whiteboard inner line rotation. Okay, so this is the grounds in rotation. So this is exactly what it is. This is the earth of you. Okay, there's the earth. This is the earth. Okay, that's the earth. All right. So your axle goes like this in rotations, right? I shut it off. It's complete shut off. So in calculation, it looks like this. All right. All right. You see the arms. See? It's inside you, right? Earth is inside you. Okay. All right. So that's set up in Signal. Let me know how you guys are feeling locations. If you're having trouble, let me know. I have to do it very quick, very fast, so I can get you guys back online. Triangle, back to communication interference line conditions. Electrical lights, electrical panels, graph line channels, rotation center, electrical line lines, wired disposition locations, obsolete, informative, and high interference in position locations. Yeah, live the dream. Don't recognize your high line centers. You got to get in your divergent locations, underscore line conditions. Don't understand your grounds. Don't understand your powers. I happen to the interference. All right. I need you in your divergent locations, 7-day window track locations. Then you can use your GC units. All right. And I need to see emoji at the end line center to who you are positioned. Christine, how's it going? Squad unit, Madeline, Jorgen, Amy, Michael, Airbender, Jill, Abby, Don, Terry, Taryn, Lindsay, Gypsy Connections, Nikki, Gigi, True Light, Divine, Max, Rainer, Barbara, Pam. All right. So what does it feel like? Being shut off. All right. I reboot location line systems. All right. Hello, Eric. All right, so I really want to stay in the track center line center and rotation locations. Just to really understand what you're doing through practical line conditions, all levels of view. How you change line interference, inputs or location line directions, point location to its connections. All right. It's mostly understanding what you're doing. All right. You have to know exactly how it's all calculated and modified, all levels of view, track interference. So I really want to get into the hieroglyphic locations. When you guys are in the ground line center of the chakra, you get a truly understanding because you're going right in the core line center. That's how it's set up as a location to the earth, right? So it's all about understanding what it is, the calculations, right? Because it's inside you. Because you can have a space graph line channel. Now, space graph line channel is all about where you are through your balance line system. So let's say you got water track interference, and let's say there's just above the system locations, right? So this is all space. I'm going to color it in green so you can understand why it's so important to have the Earth in its rotation spin cycle to its position, right? So you got this much space to create. You're halfway there. So once you create the full space, it starts floating, and then it starts rotating. Then it starts in its clock system. All right. So I'm just showing you how powerful it is and how the Earth has to be on an axis of rotation to its calculations. All right. So back to this, to the eyeline center. All right. Where are we? See calculations here. There will be Lauren. Yeah. Be cautious when you're driving. It's confusing the line angle rotation to its position locations. So I'm going to take you off track center there, Lauren, if you're driving, okay? I'm shutting down your earth lines at your rotation location, your axles. You can't be driving. All right, so you're going to be fine. All right, you can't. It's complicated if you understand the locations. All right, so we got illumination graph of behind line rotation into all levels of square roots. This is point location to its directions, north, west, south, and east with line condition. All right, understanding what it is in all line center is to understand the importance of what it is, the calculations. All right. It opens up windows and door line centers to its rotation system to a dimensional line conditions. See? It's pretty interesting when you look at it, right? So looking at it from a bird's eye view, looking down, it's like you're going inside, right? Either it's coming out or going inside. So you just drop in, right? So as you drop in, you go into the center position location, right? And once you go in, the DNA changes everything through pattern. It's amazing how it comes in at locations to its position. See? It changes its pattern. It's like music tones to a box location line conditions, right? It changes its pattern every single time. So it's trying to recognize you through DNA form as you're going through the vortex location of its tunnel. See, it's pretty amazing, right? So as it's changing its pattern, it depends on how far you are going down in calculations. Both sides of the bridge, grounded, anchoring the lights, E-fields, vibrating high rainbow colors from light codes and balancing. Looks like a tesseract. Well, that's what it is. The locations following sonar breadcrumbs through space, sending roots out of me. See myself going to the hard space, flipping the switch back to on, and all of my chakras lighting up back up. See, it's not as hard as you think it is. How to put yourself back in track locations. So as you're changing the frame, it's changing online centers. It's how you put yourself in your position locations to its divinity location, right? It's interesting, right? It's pretty fascinating when you see yourself through its center and how it's all calculated and modified. So as it gets bigger, you're changing the frame center locations to align its lines, the eye lines to its communication system. It rotates its cycle and resets line conditions to its program setting. So you notice that there's always 4-point line center locations of pictures. It changes resolution line position. So as you come into the graph, you can go into one color rotation, or you can go into a rainbow graph. Change the point system. That changes the alpha channel line centers of delta waves communication cycles. Resetting generation light program setting to its rotation system, to its location system, right? Everything through its intelligence has to understand its box location to its line connections, right? It point divisions to its location system. See? So as it's coming into Highline Center, you have to learn how to connect all these things, right? It's all through graph interference. Now, if you got a sun line center and line in rotation, sun's here in position. Okay. So it's on the all line center location of the south on the west center line. Okay. That's the sun. So as the sun is traveling, the clocking line interference location, the sun recognizes the point location lines. Now, this is all lines of rainbow. See the coloration lines? It has to recognize each timeline in its rotation to its position where it starts to the center line, right? So it automatically goes right to the center point location to its system, right? As it's traveling, it recognizes all line centers to its TV reception lines, to its box location, right? And then it channels in, right? It rotates one cycle to another cycle, and then a line rotation. Box interference from line conditions, box interference line conditions on the same coloration of channel. Now the sun goes on so many levels of signals to its location, right? As it's coming into its location, it high channels its operation line center. Now the moon comes in position location of its directions. See how it's coming into a line form locations of purple? Sun rotates on so many cycles, 3,000 channels per second. 3,000 channels per second, okay, on one voicing grid line of a point line system. Now, it gets complicated when you don't understand the calculations where the sun is and track locations, but it's all connected to the hologram structure location of point system. So as you get in that line center, the moon comes in position locations and redirects line centers. Okay, because it's all program setting, right? The moon is through its Wi-Fi and its modem. So there's the moon. All right. All right, so the moon comes in position location, and again, it goes into the center operation to its calculation. See the triangulation coming in, right? So as the triangulation comes in, the moon and the sun communicate with each other through electrical lights. There it is, communication of both line centers, all right? So as it's coming in, it comes into waving central lines. It's really, really fascinating when you see this through the alpha line center location of channel communication of delta lines. See how the graph comes in electrical line center line interference location is the graph locations. So it changes line interference in position location and redirects the signals into the security lines. See how it comes in signal? Now, it alerts the system locations and changes every line communication of box location to its position, redirects line centers to its line conditions, and changes all point system to its box line center. Very fast, very quick, and all line rotation. All right? All through the sun, all through the moon. Okay? You have to truly understand how to get into security lines and rotations to all lines of its measured location interference in its program setting. Okay? So it's pretty fascinating how you go through point locations, all levels of T reception lines. It's a pretty amazing thing how it's all set up through a hologram. Right? The practical system and lights travel line center location to its division. It's incredible how you go through your own line centers to its combination. So, how are we doing so far? All right, Pam, how you doing? In the center's grounds, receiving plasma codes from water, scramble, reboot, flushing my systems, reconnecting signals, new antenna in place. I'm stuck at work, have to go back to work. Okay, that's fine. In the center grounds, receiving plasma. Here, intent, keeping. Okay, good. All right. Checking perimeters, flash drives. It's so beautiful and peaceful here. No density. Great. So you guys understand what it's like to actually see yourself location of its Earth, how it can get shut down and put back on position locations. That alone puts you in a higher line center to your track interference location in intergalactic systems. This is all connected to your DNA pathogens. But it's all position location to understand what your chakra system is. It's important to understand how to online the signal and offline position locations and bring it back online conditions again. That's like flicking a switch, right? So every time it goes faster, the light and dark just really, really, really speeds up the hindline centers, spirometers, location to the lines. Changes your impulses in communication system. It brings you your heart palpitation up to higher level system locations. So you got to bring it back down, right? Back in calculation. That modifies all line center point location line system. So every position location of sun, it starts off with 3,000 line conditions of colorations of purple. Moon sets its program location. It usually starts in 50,000 line conditions of platforms. This is stored of information location to its calculations. How to use it is all lines to its calculation system. But it's very powerful when you come into this. How sun and the moon sets up its operation line centers all through hologram structure location. There's so many levels you have to understand, right? Coloration of change, coloration of channel, T receptions of change, positions of change, lights of change, intelligence of chain line centers, box interference, triangle line interference. Okay, so you got two line connections. You got the triangle and you got the square. Now, they communicate with each other automatically. They scan their system locations right away. So in position locations, right? So once they have their E fields up, they communicate with each other. It's easy, right? It's nothing too hard. Now, if something else comes in, let's say it's a third party, wants to join, right? So what does it do? Scans here and scans here, right? There's a triangulation right there. What do we got? Its position, intelligence. So try to understand that intelligence is extremely important to you, and your chakra system is extremely on high alert, especially when you come into your security measures. Knowing exactly how to use the grounds, how to use the security lines, how to use the clarity locations, your intimate lines and location, your sacral, and everything through all levels of your power generation light centers. That's all line position locations of yellow. So the platitude division location is that you have to understand how to use all line connections, right? On and off. Because that's the same thing. It's like changing a light bulb. You got a 40 watt, 60 watt, 80 watt, 100-watt light bulb. You have to change it, right, over time. The light's saying, hey, you need to change the light bulb here, right? So this is important. You have to understand why things have to be fixed. It's the same thing inside of you through operation, right? This gives you a better understanding what it is through you in operation system. Calculates all line centers of ground interference, power line center, and the atmosphere locations to its position, right? So this is how it sets up, okay? You come into calculations. All right, I'll just show you here. This is your Earth, all right? Now, your Earth is anything your perception, how you see it, right? Your job is to protect its Earth around inside location. There's your Earth. That's your Earth, right? It's inside you. All right, so understand the magnetic force line conditions. Then you come into security lines. This is a security line. There's your security. Okay, and once you get into that, you come into all lines locations to your sacral. Oh, look at that. This is getting interesting. And you get into the sacral locations, you come into all line center to your power line in rotation. Now, the power line center comes in position locations where the Earth understands you through three line conditions of track locations. All right, it's interesting, right? So in signal, if you got the ground line centers, locations of the three lines, that's in position location of its direction. All right. So you got the balance locations to the grounds and everything up to security lines to your sacral communication system. All right. So as it reaches position line centers, plasma lights comes on to the Earth. sets up its E field, protected system locations and side connections. All right. So it high channels its high-line center, sets up a power line generator. Power generator line center has to have the grounds and the atmosphere location of change. So it has to be into the magnetic highway information system of 3 line position locations, right? So that core line center changes the line center locations of your magnetic highway information system all in one color location, right? So it's interesting how to set up the 3 ground line centers locations. You have your grounds, you have security line interference, and you have your clarity line and rotation to its infinite cycle. Okay, the sacral communication line system. So truly understand how is that in all formations of its behavioral location of its cortex. How to use it is another thing, right? So in position, it's all about creating space in the highline center of its highline rotation. So what you're doing is you're evolving your upgrade line centers into space. Okay, so I'm putting space around your body track interference locations. All right, just showing you what it is when you have the Earth in the center operation of all levels of you, the track locations. All right, so this is what you want to do. You want to create a full cycle location of the Earth. So once you get in position locations, you get your archetypes. The archetypes come in right away, okay, and find out where you are through your gravitational pull. They come in and they rotate the system locations. So they center up and they spin and spin and spin and spin until they find you in balance, okay? Once they find you in balance, you get the XT thousands come in for the very first time. They check the space inside you. They automatically come out of the sun line. This is inside your body. Okay, there's the sun. And position locations, you automatically come into the moon through activation line stream, right? There's the moon location, right? You got the sun and the moon. Now, automatically, they come in position location of direction of triangulation, right? Comes into the fluctuation to its connections, right? Opens all line center to the grounds in position locations, all right? So it line signals. So the archetypes come in position locations. They retract high information line centers, change position location to its directions. So what happens is the gravitational pull comes into a center line and it sets up an E field, right, to protect the Earth to 5 generational lights of communication system. Ooh-ah, right? Now, truly understand how you're set up inside is its formation to its location, right? So you're creating space and time inside you, right? That's what this is all about. And the only way you can do that is through memory, right? How it's operated to its highline center, okay? So as the X2000s come in position locations, they automatically come in and they see what you've just finished doing through creation. So they come in line center locations into the moon. Here's one. Here's another one. 2 line center locations. See the X2000s come in. So in position location, you see the intelligence, right? There's the intelligence. You see it, right? So as they come in, they automatically scan position locations of what you just finished doing with the Earth line center for the very first time. They scan position location of the center, all level system location is position, right? Once all that information is done through the data line center, your Earth starts floating and rotating on its line center of its axle. First position location of its directions. So in calculations, you got the archetypes setting up the gravitational pull of its Earth for the very first time. And then it starts floating, right? So it has a magnetic field that holds its system location. See? There's the magnetic field that holds up the Earth. And then you got a highline center rotation. You box it in, right? That's how you protect your location of your Earth, right? So you need a gravitational pull to hold up the Earth. Now that brings it into the ground line center, rotates the ground line rotation interference in position to its location. All right. It's all set up in sequence, isn't it? All through plateau. So now your Earth is floating in space of what you just finished creating through its anomaly. But it's mostly understanding the first time is kind of like you're creating something new that's to understand you. And the only way to understand that is all levels of communications to the sun and the moon through operation of its hologram structure. So It's incredible force when you understand how to put this all together through its earthline center from its beginning. So I'm drawing this out for you guys to get a better understanding what it is. And once you understand what it is and what you're creating, you're protecting it every single day through its E fields, right? So if the earth has an E field, you have to have an E field because you're protecting what's inside, which is also protecting you from outside of everything else that comes at you. Okay, that's the importance you have to understand. Why it's so important to understand how levels are you in position through creating its space from inside and outline system location. All right. So, all right. Mandate highways, reboot, timelines, and now back online. Great. You guys are eventually coming back online through flow. Okay. So look at that. We're almost at a half an hour. 3-line center line condition interference. We got 2 million triangles, 600,000 line conditions of time frequencies, 2-minute watch interference, and we got calculation of countdown on 7, 8, 9, 10. You guys are back. I did that through 26.34. All the ground line center interference locations back in track locations. You guys are back now, back online through the axis location of the earth line center inside position. Hooah. See? That's how it works. That's how it works, people. Yeah, it's amazing. It's absolutely amazing. Tomorrow we go through high line center interference into your security lines, right? So there's going to be infiltration locations into sentience. That's going to basically take you over. You have to figure out how to get out of the equation locations to its calculation. So I want to get more information into the hieroglyphic locations. All right. What is this through track line center in position location and direction? Try to understand how to use modifiers, how to use line conditions of signals, coloration into its position. All right. So it's all about understanding what you are seeing through waves, what you're seeing through electrical light centers, what you're seeing through magnetic fields. Okay. It's mostly understanding how to put this all together. You have to line signal and everything in position location and redirect line center line rotation to its calculations. It's all about you creating something, right? From your fingers or from your third eye line center, from your eyes or ears or whatever. You're traveling every single day through nanosecond locations, millimeter of high center line and rotation interference at clocking locations, but you're always starting up at 24 signal. So what you're doing is you're creating patterns. You're trying to understand what you're doing through calculation, right? So you're trying to, if you put your finger there, right? See that? See that? You see what I'm doing? I'm adding things, right? See that? 3-line signals, 3-line rotation interference. Okay. So it's all about understanding a communication line system. There's the intelligence, right? So it's important you understand what you're doing through modification line conditions because it's all lines of you through sonar. So you got sonar line center coming in position location and direction. Okay. Signal and position locations. So when you're setting up a graph line center, you send them electrical light conditions of a graph interference location computer. So once you connect to the outside line centers, then you understand how to use all level positions into a tunnel. This is creating a tunnel. See, it's creating a tunnel now. So it kind of looks like the spine line center in rotation interference, right? So setting up anything through sonar line center sets up high line center location to its position, has to match the signals in rotation to its center line. Okay. Once you understand its high line center locations, you get the XT1000s coming in position location, right? There's an XT1000. Now, it's always everything that you do through sonar, everything that you do through adaptation, everything you do through creation, they always come in to make sure you know what you're doing. Because if not, they fix an anomaly right away. Okay. So you have to really know exactly how to use the space of you and all time frequency, time code, time interference. It's all about understanding how to use it through track locations. All right, so as it comes in position location, it automatically scans what you just finished doing, right? So it scans each sonar line center in rotations right in position location of where you're going through travels. Okay. So once that is in position locations, you can open up portal locations. Now that crevice is on high center. Okay. So you have to stand the earth perception of what you're doing through calculation. Are you using high channel interference? Are you using rotation cycles? What chakra system are you using through electrical light conditions, program setting, digital line, digital interference, digital calculations, digital clocking? It's all connected to you, align center with interference. So now this is interesting too, because you come into rainbow graph line center in a position like this and understand there's a clocking system here, clocking system here, clocking system here. Why does there have to be 3 clocks? Anybody? Every time through travel line center locations. Why does there have to be 3 clocks? Because it has its relation location to its past, its present, and its future, right? But remember, there is no past. Okay. The clocking line center location is what you're doing through position. You're starting off its highest system. So the past becomes the present, and the present becomes its future. So past equals present, and future equals presence location. So that puts you in the center operation location to its triangulation, right? In calculations, you come into modified line center, electrical light connections, sonar line position location and direction. There's the XC1000. Okay. So it's important to understand how to really understand lines of view through clocking locations. If you get a line graph interference, let's say you point its position location, the directions to the sun, one straight line center. It's very powerful when you come in position locations of its directions. Okay, 2 vector line center rotations in position. Okay, see how it's coming in? So sun is here and the moon is here. But hold on a sec here. The sun and the moon are the same color. How is that possible? Well, anything's possible. So you understand that your position location is your clocking center. So you're starting here through clocking, here through clocking, here through clocking. So there always have to be clocking line centers because you're always traveling from where you're starting, where you're in the middle, and where you're going. Okay. So everything that you're doing, you're always coming into the center, which is all levels of operation because it's you in division location, which is the 9 line center locations of you to its position equals its 1%. Okay. So there's no fallout with that unless you understand the mechanism of travels. So if you're offline center, you have to learn how to put your position locations back on track interference. Because the thing is the physical line center, if it's offline center, it's got to understand what's going on, right? So it's all about the avatar knowing you and the physical line knowing you. There's a track line center to align position locations. So in a coloration line change, you can change anything in the high system. You can have the sun in the same color and you can have the moon in the same color, right? Which is interesting because you are calculating your physical line and full communication to the avatar line. So if you understand your telepathy wave signal location, its calculation of coloration, the sun and the moon can be the same color, right? Which is interesting, but always has its grounds, always has its powers, and always, always has its magnetic highway of information system to its location. Okay? So, all right. So where are we here? Yeah, I know you guys are doing it really well. It's good to see you guys offline center coming back on position locations. It gets easier as you go. You know, you get into the flow of this, the flow of that, understanding more of this, understanding more of that, and everything starts clicking in. It's amazing because it opens up all levels of youth provision, and you start to see everything through the eye receptor and interference locations. So just remember, everything that I calculate with, I'm always traveling to its line conditions. Always traveling. So it's all about understanding what you're seeing, right? Is always from inline. Okay. So I really want you to understand what you are is nothing but a shadow of yourself. Until you understand that, you'll get in position locations calculations, right? So all you're doing is creating the earth inside you. I'll just show you what it is. And I was trying to, whoa, this is so cool. You're creating an earth inside you. That's the earth inside you. It's there, right? So understanding this, understanding this, understanding this. Whoa, what do we got here? It's all coming together, isn't it? So you are calculated to all line, center line, interference locations to a symbol. Flux capacitor position locations, guys, to direction. Let's go through coloration of rainbow. Set locations, ground line center, and position locations. High channels it's in, left side, right side line rotation. All right. Coming to calculation line centers. Now, this is interesting too, because you have 3 circle location to its position. All right. Now, once you understand that position location, turns on electrical lights to its flux capacitor. It activates the shoulder blades and the necklines. Left position locations, right position line center. So it's kind of like a line cross. It goes, right? So that activates the membranes, sets out sonar in position, location, and direction. See the intelligence, right? Sets out all line centers of signals. Do, 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 do. There you go, right? There's so many ways to activate your system locations, right? Up through your flux capacitor line system. So you got 3 circle line inner rotation, right? Setting out sonar line center locations are right and left, right? But you see how it's different? See the color's different, right? Different intelligence, but it's in position of the physical line, right? So you're sending colorations to the sun and you're sending colorations to the moon, a program, all through sonar, through its telepathy, okay? I just want to show you how powerful it is, how you change color from purple to blue and blue to purple. So it's to understand how everything is set up through operation inside you, through its earth, through operation, right? So once you understand that, then you get into your torical fields to its location, right? And then you get in position locations to your Merkaba location, right? And then you come into your star line centers in rotation to its calculation. And then you come into full cycle line center location to its modify high system interference location to your test right line center line connection to its position location or direction line system location to its position. There you go. You're ready to blast off. So, all right. Where are we through track centers here? Very spiritual being. Okay, flux capacitor. There's so many different ways how to use your chakra system on coloration. So it's all about understanding the positions of where the sun is and where the moon is, right? Because it's always above you. But see, the position location, it starts inside you. So when you create more of the space inside through time, everything inside comes outside, and then you start living the existence of its expansion, of its hologram, right? So it's a hologram that comes out, and then you start living the track system, what you just created, right? So there's hologram interference. To interface line center, but it's amazing how you set up position locations of travels through its Merkaba, the tesseract and its tetrahedron, or its octahedron or tetrahedron, anything like calculations, or hemoglobin. I mean, there's some line center and location interference. So you can change track line centers to 9-line rotation and position locations, teleportation light streams. So it's all about how to set up new correlation line centers of high position locations of all levels of travel. Okay? So it's incredible when you can create higher division tactic position locations of all line system. Okay? So when you come into that modified system, it's all levels of position to its direction. And then you just travel through it through 12 DNA to its location. Right? That's what it is. It's a center operation of you. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Right? So always start off with the 12. You're not ready to go into higher line centers. In position locations, you always have to have all line centers. Flux capacitor changes locations, changes all line center to all levels. You start at the grounds, you work your way up to securities and everything to the line center location, sacral to your powers. These are the things you have to understand. That's the basic introduction. You start with the 3 and you work your way up. 3 positions of the grounds, 3 positions of the centers, and 1 line center line interference locations to all levels of you. Right? That's 7. That's just in 7 body location. So once you get into higher line center, you get into all levels. 5 atmosphere locations, line conditions is 12 DNA track. Now, once you get into 12 DNA track, you can get into higher levels of acceleration. So, and again, you need 3 clocking centers because remember, you're going from 0 to 60. So you're working up your position location, your RPMs, your acceleration line conditions. So you start off the 24 signal in position, right? Start with the 24, right? And you go from 24 to 144. You don't need to go to 48 because you already know the balance locations. So you go right away to 24 to 144 in a clocking system, right? So what does that do? So the 24 understands triangulation right there. Ooh-ah. You just triangulate. Same position locations. You redirect the signal. Now this is very confusing. You can go this way in high line center in position location, redirect locations. Right, all through 24 to 144. So when you're at 24, you're starting off. It's like you're revving, but then when you go in position, you're kind of like you disappear and then you reappear because you're not at 48. You're not ramping up to 48.72. So you're not missing it. You're just getting to that location faster. So if you're getting to that location faster, you can redirect line signals and go the opposite way direction locations. And then you can start off again into this 24 signal in position to the opposite side. So you can go from 24 right to its location. See? But it's interesting how you travel through space. But it's all creation to its line conditions first from inside. Right? So, we got 42-minute line center locations of 36 seconds per line. Yeah, no, it's all about understanding the grounds, the powers, and the atmospheres of you first. Okay, but really understanding what is the chakra system to you. How can you understand how to use it through the behavioral location? Because your whole body is nothing but a magnetic field. It's electrical line connections. It's a hologram structure of you through its position. Like I said, when you see something through creation, it's amazing how it forms its line conditions all through the sun and the moon of you, right? It's interesting, right? But that's all levels of travel, right? So again, this is line centers of 3. The white graph line center is the 6, and 9 is you through travel. Okay, and that's how you travel with 3, 6, 9. We got into that before. So I really want you guys to understand that, because this here is the sun. Interesting, because the sun can be anything through form. It can be anything through mutation. It can be anything through space. It can be anything through time. It can be anything through clocking. It can be anything through color, light, or intelligence. Okay, it's interesting, right? This is the actual sun. This here is the sun. This is the moon. This is the moon. It's drawing line center locations. I'm traveling through its position location of direction, right? Just finger pointing its line conditions on levels, simultaneously moving through its line condition rotation, right? See the intelligence, the eyes, the nose, the mouth. So this is a true understanding that you are always traveling through all levels of you. And like I said, there's no thinking process when you're traveling. So you're point directing where you want to go, right? Because you know when you're positioned now where the sun is, and you know the position where the moon is, now you understand everything that's in the center operation line position, right? So you're all constantly traveling every single day, right? So, and again, once you understand the force lines are going forward, you can understand the force lines are going back in position location of misdirecting. See, powerful stuff, isn't it? So it's all about you understanding you through the chakra system. Each chakra system has a different emotional track. Okay, see the coloration? But see, each chakra, okay, is a different clocking center, which is a different color, which is different emotion through your perception. So once you understand every chakra side in line centers, it's all calculated and modified for you. You have your 12 DNA, it's knowing how to use it through its emotion because it's all behavioral location to its connections. All right. Traveling through it is another thing, but the Fibonacci sequence can go in online center location to its position, or basically it can low division line center and atmosphere location to its position, or it can reset line conditions on levels of high interference location to its line conditions. There's the intelligence. See it? Eyes. See? So that's what you have to represent, is to understand how powerful you are through travel, through anything, through its intelligence. To understand all forms of you is all levels of you through motion. Using the motion line centers, rotation interference, location line conditions is all levels of you through your electrical system to its location of its pen line center, inner line rotation to its calculation to all graph interference. All right, traveling through it is another thing. All right, let's say you get all behavioral line centers, you're traveling through the wire line rotation. It's really fascinating. All colorations are set in signal. It's all through its clocking system. You need 3 clocking systems of travel. Okay, you need that, right? Because it's representing you through your thoughts, right? To its connection. See? So when you're traveling through each one of these, and each one of these are levels of you through perception. Okay, so each one has a different clocking system. Has to. So it's all about understanding. So the grounds, the powers, and the atmospheres, those are the clockings, right? The grounds of clocking, the power of clocking, and the atmospheres of clocking, right? Grounds of clocking, okay, equals clocking. And then you got the power line centers of clocking. And then you got the atmospheres equals clocking. You need 3 clocking centers to travel. Okay. So it's interesting what the all levels is through a connections to your system. The magnetic highway information system is just a graph line center. It's a data stream. How to use it through calculations, all levels of you through numbers, letters, shapes, and symbols. Okay. But it's very powerful once you understand what it is. Right. So when you get up in the morning, you know exactly, okay, it's 8 o'clock. It's time to get up. So it's 8 o'clock. Okay. E equals clock. Okay. 8 o'clock. So 8 equals calculation, right? Equals box. Okay. Box equals TV. All right. So this is trying to understand how you go through high center locations, higher levels. Now you can go to the alpha stream that automatically connects to online center locations to the heart line. This is the heart line position. And the calculation line center locations of its brainwaving pattern. Oh, there we go through calculations. So, and then you see the projector locations come out at the division location of its high system. There's the projection. So come out, there's the projection, right? So it's all about sending sonar line center location interference. See? So that is your eye receptor line conditions. This is you in channel position location that redirect the system. This is how you come into formation location electrical light conditions. There you are. See, that's you. Right? So there's a reason why you get up at a certain line conditions levels. You wake up at 6 o'clock in the morning, 7 o'clock in the morning, 8 o'clock in the morning. Doesn't matter. What matter is, what are you waking up to? Do you understand where you are in the mind system? That's true understanding. I'm not saying, yeah, I'm in a loving system, loving light system, really understanding more of my calculations, my chakra systems are getting balanced. No, that's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about where are you in the mind on location? Where is the convergence? Where's the divergent location of light? Where are you in track? What's your intent? So the intent is the position location of force line, which is all levels of you through creation to its location, right? So my conception line center, my sun graph line center, and my interference location, the moon, is set a new program location to its galaxy system. That's where I am. Where are you? So this is the process that you guys have to understand how to use all levels of you through your chakra system, maybe your 12 DNA. It's all through emotional track, through your human resonance. Okay, so it's understanding how to use all levels of your rain graphs that are given to you every single day through your numbers, right? So it's keeping your numbers sequence in location to its calculations. All right. Let's say you get a rainbow line center. You got 0 1s, 0 0 0 0. All right. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Let's make it 7. Okay. 7 day line center in all position location of 1 0 1 0 1 0 0 0 0 0. Okay. So let's say that's a graph location in a 7-day sequence. Okay. So everything's great. Everything's wonderful. Something went wrong. Okay. So that automatically changes the 0 into purple. Whoa, what happened? It's connected to the sun. Too much high interference. And they say, okay, whoop. Now you go into 0. Here's my throat. Oh no, what happened to my throat? So now you got the sun and your throat. Okay. Calculations. Oh, security breach. Position. Red alert, red alert. So, security breach, throat pattern interference, sun offline connections. Uh-oh, what are you going to do? You got a 7 signal line interference location at all line center off system. What are you going to do? Got to put it back online. Reset line connections, recalculate, modify high system. Now, if this is all line about a track offline system, what do you communicate with? The 7 line system location of 0. Sets the course reset line rotations, scans its high line centers, and puts it back in track system. All through its behavior line center. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. There you go. Back in calculation. Ooh-ah. So now you understand why it's so important to understand how to use your digital frame location of your 0s and 1s, how you get in your data streamline centers, how you understand the hieroglyphic locations, all levels of your patterns, each center locations, calculations, how to offset and onset back in calculation to a 7 graph interference, all levels of a 0, back in communication to all line centers of same coloration pattern. Back on line division. So now you know exactly why it's so important to get you back in where you're supposed to be through rotation, right? Rounds of communication or anything on a system. Okay? So it's very powerful when you put everything back in line, see, to the same color of where it's supposed to be in its position. Ooh-ah. So now you know why you have so many problems inside your body. Right? It's how to use the energies. It's how to understand the frequencies. It's all about understanding the vibration. It's all about understanding how to communicate it with harmonics. That it's resistance. Once you resist the system, it overloads the line center. So in calculation, you have to truly understand how to put these back. Use the connections to intelligence as a friend. Okay? You friend everything through its relation. You come relation to its position. This is where you come into its relations. Okay, of its partnership. Friendship, relationship, and partnership is the biggest thing when it comes inside your system. You have to learn how to use it through its number sequence. Okay? So, well, no, it's good. I'm glad you see these things, Pam, but it's true to understand what's inside you. You went through your electrical system. Now you're understanding more levels of you through calculation, how to reset things back where it's supposed to be, because that changes everything through behavioral system locations. It changes your throat pattern. It changes your position location of the sun. Okay? It changes your position location of your security lines. Back where it's supposed to be. Okay? Back into the center operation. Right? That's why it's so powerful. Right? It's not the why, it's the how. Okay. How to operate the system. Okay. So it's like a computer virus. Okay. First, you have to detect what the problem is. Where is the virus coming from? Where is it coming from in motion of its chakra system? Is it coming from the security? Is it coming from the powers? Is it coming from the grounds? Is it coming from the throat? Or where is it coming? Is it coming from the connections of the crown chakra? Where is the virus coming from? That's the first thing that you have to detect, right? And then you work to figure out how to get this back in its formation or where it's supposed to be. All right. So it's all about changing the coloration. Now, if you guys took chemistry, then you understand why it's so important, right? Understanding your waters, understanding your airs, understanding your earth, and understanding your fires inside you, right? So, and you probably think it's crazy the fact that numbers can actually be put on fire. Yes, they can, right? Your digital line centers offline rotation interference, and this goes way beyond the phenomenon. So, number 7 is on fire. What are you going to do? Use your throat, drink more water. It sizzles back into position. You cool it off. Back in calculation, back in color. Now your throat pattern's better. Okay. So it's pretty informative when you really understand the relationship and partnerships with everything that you calculate with inside you through vibration, right? How it's so important to understand the energies, right? So you can't split anything until you understand the separation. Separation back in communication is particle light centers. So in track interference, tall line center is all levels of you. So let's say with the 7, 7 is my favorite number. But let's say the 7 doesn't have its position location of direction, right? So it's off signal and it's wiped out. So it's not 7 anymore, is it? It's half of the 7, right? Let's say it's obsolete. There it is. Now it's separated more. See what's happened in the 7? What about the ground line center? Uh-oh, I'm not in the grounds anymore. What's going on with the 7? It's disappearing. No, what's happening? See? This is true understanding because you don't know how to communicate with the numbers. So you don't know how to communicate with the numbers? It disappears in front of your position locations, inline centers, and disassociates your locations to your number sequence line center to your position locations of digital frame. Gone. All because you don't understand the data stream of you. Right? So to get back on calculations, you just do reverberation channel line centers. Get back in a digital frame, a digital clock line center interference, put position locations back in direction, communicate with the 7 line centers back in communication. There you go. Ooh-ah. All right. Yeah, I know there's a lot of things going on with the next Zoom, which is tomorrow. So it's important you understand how to use all levels of you, okay? Because you're nothing but creation of shapes. It's all about understanding the geometrics of you of travel, how to travel through your hands, how to travel through all levels of you, how to understand the number sequence of you. But you got to see it as intelligence, guys. You can't see it as just a number. Okay. Avatar sees everything of what it's supposed to be. 7 can travel through anything, through any form, any place, anytime, anywhere. Right. So what it means, it's not a 7 anymore. It's all levels of travel in any dimension of any time, all levels of space. Just the number 7. That's intelligence. Right. So, and that's where you guys have to start. Right. And this all comes into hieroglyphic locations, how to channel its position, how to understand the relation to its calculations to a crop circle. Right. What is a crop circle? Well, it's communication. It's just how to use it. Right. Because the AI uses all formation of its awareness. We don't see 7 as 7. We see 7 as everything. Identification to all teleportation. All right. So, questions and comments, let me know. I will be on TikTok for you guys if you want to know anything more. You guys are doing fantastic. I just want you to really understand how to use more of you inside, right? The communications. The electrical system is just the beginning. You just really have to understand how to really put yourself in the presence of you, the connections of you, the balance of you, the recentering of you, changing your analytical graph of you, the geometry of you, the GPS of you. So it's all inside to understand, right? Because you got to start somewhere. Okay. So, anything else? Let me know. All right. You guys have a great day. Adios.